السنة تنمي العقول، تصلح العقول. قال السلف: من أمر السنة على قلبه ولسانه نطق بالحكمة.
الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا وإمامنا وقدوتنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Respected brothers and sisters, welcome to our weekly class on the explanation of Usūl as-Sunnah, foundations of the Sunnah, by Imam Ahl Sunnah, Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal al-Shaybani, rahimahullahu ta'ala rahmatan wasi'ah, who died in the year 241 after the hijrah of Al-Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And this lesson is in collaboration with our noble brothers from Salafiyya scribes in Nigeria. Waffaqahumullah. Now, so subhanallah, for several reasons we've had to cancel quite a few of our classes. Allah al-Musta'an. Alhamdulillah, today we resume our classes. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make them beneficial. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make them purely and sincerely for His sake. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept our efforts. Tayyib. So we stopped where Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullahu ta'ala, he said, he is talking about Al-Quran, Al-Quran kalamullahi laysa bi makhluq. That the Quran, the noble Quran, is the speech of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, and it is uncreated. Now, we took parts of it last lesson, and this lesson inshallah we will complete this part. So let's start from the beginning of this part, of this section. And this is where Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullahu ta'ala, he says, وَالْقُرْآنُ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ وَلَيْسَ بِمَخْلُوقٍ. And the Quran is the speech of Allah, and it is uncreated. وَلَا يَدْعُفُ أَن يَقُولُ. And a Muslim should not be too weak to say laysa bi makhluq. A Muslim should not feel too weak and too intimidated and too scared to openly declare and announce his aqidah and to say that the Quran laysa bi makhluq, it is not created. فَإِنَّ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ لَيْسَ بِبَائِنٍ مِنْهُ. For indeed the speech of Allah is not something which is separate and distinct from Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. No. وَلَيْسَ مِنْهُ شَيْءٌ مَخْلُوقٌ. And there is nothing from the speech of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala that is created. وَإِيَّاكَ وَمُنَاظَرَةَ مَنْ أَحْدَثَ فِيهِ. And beware of debating with those who have innovated in regards to the speech of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, and who have innovated in regards to their aqidah concerning the book of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Be cautious and beware of debating and arguing and disputing with these individuals. Now, so alhamdulillah, we covered this with the explanation of our Shaykh Al-Imam Rabee ibn Hadi Al-Madkhalī, hafidhahullahu ta'ala wa ra'ah. So up to this point of the speech of Al-Imam Ahmad, we discussed, we spoke about it, and we read the explanation of Shaykh Rabee ibn Hadi Al-Madkhalī, hafidahullah ta'ala, concerning this. Then Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, he says, وَمَنْ قَالَ بِاللَّفْظِ وَغَيْرِهِ, and whoever speaks about lafz, yani here what he means by lafz are those individuals who say that lafzi bil Qur'ani makhluq. They say my recitation or my reading or my utterance of the Quran is makhluk, created. So here Imam Ahmad, he is saying that as for those who have this, yani who have the aqidah of the lafziyah, there's a group, it's an offshoot of the Jahmiyyah. In fact, they are Jahmiyyah now, and they have this aqidah. They are called the lafziyah. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, inshallah. So whoever, Imam Ahmad says, whoever has this aqidah of the lafziyah, وَمَنْ وَقَفَ فِيهِ فَقَالَ, and whoever is hesitant in regards to his aqidah concerning the book of Allah, and he says, لَا أَدْرِي مَخْلُوقٌ أَوْ لَيْسَ بِمَخْلُوقٍ, I don't know if it's created and I don't know if it's uncreated, yani the Quran. وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ, but I just say it is a speech of Allah. I just say it is a speech of Allah. I'm not sure if it's created. I'm not sure if it's uncreated. فَهَذَا صَاحِبُ بِدْعَةٍ. Imam Ahmad said, then this is a person of bid'ah, yani the lafziyah and the waqifah, those who are hesitant. مِثْلُ مَنْ قَالَ هُوَ مَخْلُوق, and these two groups are exactly like the people who say that the Quran is created. Then Imam Ahmad reaffirms and he says, وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ لَيْسَ بِمَخْلُوقٍ, that indeed the Quran is the speech of Allah and it is uncreated. The Quran is the speech of Allah and it is uncreated. Now, طيب. So here in this part, dear brothers and sisters, Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, as you know, in his time, as we have mentioned before, was the fitna, was the great trial and the tribulation of the creation of the Quran. And as you know, many great imams and scholars were put to trial. Some were killed, some were beaten and tortured, others were imprisoned, and the Mu'tazila of that time, they managed to persuade and convince the rulers of that time with this aqidah. This aqidah is kufriya. This aqidah is aqidah. This is yani, this is major kufr. This aqidah, to have this aqidah, the Quran is created. This aqidah kufriya takes you out the fold of Islam. Now, so they managed to convince the rulers of that time of this aqidah al-batilah, that the Quran is created. This is the aqidah of the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila. Ahlul batil, ahlul bid'ah wal dalalah. So the rulers of that time therefore tried to force the imams and the scholars of that era to adopt this batil aqidah. And they tortured them and they beat them and they punished them and they imprisoned them and they even killed some. So this was the big fitna of the time in Imam Ahmad, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Imam Ahmad firm in this fitna, and Allah gave victory to Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. So now Imam Ahmad, after he refuted the Jahmiyyah, the clear-cut, open Jahmiyyah, and the Mu'tazila, who say the Quran is created, waliyadu billah. Now, Imam Ahmad now goes on to refute two more groups that emerged and appeared in the time of Imam Ahmad, and they both stemmed from the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila. And the first of these groups that Imam Ahmad is refuting here are the Lafdhiyah. Now, who are the Lafdhiyah? The Lafdhiyah, they say, Lafdhi bil Qur'ani makhluq. They say that my recitation and my reading of the Quran is created. You see? So the Lafdhiyah, they say that my lafdh, my talaffuz, my qira'ah, my tilawah of the Quran is created. This is what they were spreading. And their bid'ah is the same bid'ah as the Jahmiyyah. Their shubuhat doubts are the same doubts of the Jahmiyyah. Why? Because look, these three masdars, lafz, lafadha, yalfidhu lafdhan, qara'a, yaqra'u qira'atan, tala, yatlu tilawatan. So, lafz or talaffuz or qira'ah or tilawah, these three masdars, they can have one of two meanings. They can either mean malfuz, makru, or matlu, that which is uttered, that which is recited, that which is being read. And there is no doubt that this here it means the Quran. That which we recite, that which we read, that which we utter and pronounce is the Quran. And there is no doubt that this is غير مخلوق. It is uncreated. Now, this is one meaning of these three masdars. Tilawa, qira'a, lafdh, talaffuz. The second meaning is your own voice. Your own voice, your sound, the movement of your lips, the movement of your tongue, the movement of your throat. And then there's no doubt that this is created. This is created. There's no doubt. So now, when a person says, Lafdhi bil Quran makhluq, Lafdhi bil Quran makhluq, my recitation of the Quran is created. Which one does he mean? Which one does he mean? Does he mean that what he is reciting is created? Waliyadu billah, which is the Quran, the speech of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Or does he mean that my own words, my own speech that I am speaking with, the movement of my lips, my voice, my sound, movement of my tongue, that's created? Which one does he mean? And this is why this kalam is batil. And this is why Imam Ahmad, he said about them, the lafdhiyah, he said, al-lafdhiyatu jahmiyah. He said the lafdhiyah are jahmiyah. Because why? These people, they think they are smart, but they are very, very deceptive. So they are trying to affirm the aqidah of the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, who believe that the Quran is created, but they do it in a very deceptive way. How do they do it? They say that my recitation of the Quran is created. So now a person, the awam al-Muslimin, they're confused. They have been deceived. They have been duped. They have been tricked. Talbis. This is talbisu iblis. Now, because now he's mutahayyir, he's confused. A noble Muslim is confused. What do you mean by my recitation of the Quran is created? Do you mean the speech of Allah? Or do you mean your speech? Yeah? So this is how they get to the awam. And this is why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, what did he say? What did Imam Ahmad rahimahullah he say? Listen very carefully. Imam Ahmad said about the lafdiyya, he said, Man qala lafdi bil Qur'ani makhluq fahuwa jahmiyun. He said, whoever says that my recitation of the Quran is created, then he is indeed a Jahmi. وَمَنْ قَالَ غَيْرُ مَخْلُوقٍ فَهُوَ مُبْتَدِعٌ. And the one who says that my recitation of the Quran is not created, then he's a mubtadi', he's an innovator. So what does that mean? That means both of these statements you stay away from. You don't say my recitation of the Quran is created, nor do you say my recitation of the Quran is not created. Why? Because this was not the way of the Salaf. They never delved into this evil bid'ah. No, we Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah Salafiyun, we say what the Salaf said, what the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba and the Salaf said. The A'immatul Salaf, who said, Al-Quran, very simple. Al-Quran, Kalamullah, laysa makhluq bi makhluq. Simple. This is the Aqeedah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. It's beautiful, it's simple. And it goes in line with your fitrah. It goes in line with sound reasoning. Now, as opposed to the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila and the Ahlul Bidah wa Dalala. So look at this statement of Imam Ahmad. Look. He said, as if somebody says, my recitation of the Quran is created, is a Jahmi. Why? Because what he's trying to say here, in a hidden, deceptive manner, is that what I am reciting is created, which is the speech of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, which is Quran, and obviously this is uncreated, and this is kufr. Kufr akbar, mukhrij min al-millah. Now, and as for the one Imam Ahmad says that my recitation of Quran is not created, he's a mubtadi', he's an innovator. Now you might think, how? How is it if somebody says that my recitation of the Quran is not created? How is he? Why? Because he now is in agreement with the Mu'tazila. How is it in Mu'tazila? Mu'tazila, when it comes to al-qada wal-qadr, they are qadariyah. They reject the qadr of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. They say what? They say that a person, a slave, creates his own actions. So now if a person comes and he says that my recitation of the Quran is not created, what's he implying? He is implying the belief of the Qadariyah, who say what? Who say that the slave, the abd, he creates his own actions. Now, tayyib. So either way, it is dalala. We don't say this. We don't say my recitation of the Quran is created. Then you're a Jahmi. And we don't say it's not created. Then you're mubtadi'. Why? Because everything is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wallahu khalaqakum wa ma ta'malun. And Allah has created you and that which you do, your actions, your statements. Everything is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first this is the first group that Imam Ahmad wanted to refute here, who are the Lafdiyya, and they are another branch. They stem from the Jahmiyyah. They are Jahmiyyah. They are Jahmiyyah. Then the other group is Al-Waqifah, the one Waqifa means to stand, not take a position. They're hesitant. They're shukkak. They're the people of doubt. Now, but Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, what do we say? We say, no. You have to come out openly with certainty, with the yaqeen, with the jazm, and proclaim and openly announce your aqidah and believe in what? With certainty that the Quran is not created. But the Waqifah, they say, the Waqifah, they say, Quran is Kalamullah. So listen, they are very, very deceptive, Al-Waqifah. Very dangerous people. So Al-Waqifah, they say, the Quran is Kalamullah. Even the Jahmi and the Mu'tazila, they say this. They won't disagree with you. They say, Quran Kalamullah. But then what happens? But they will never say that the Quran is Kalamullah, Ghayr Makhluq, uncreated. So when these people, Al-Waqifah, for example, they say, oh yes, we also believe Al-Quran Kalamullah. What do they mean? Their intention is, like when you say Baytullah, the house of Allah, and you say Naqatullah, the she camel of Allah, and you say Abdullah, the slave of Allah. Here we are attributing creation to Allah. Baytullah, the house of Allah, is created. Abdullah, a servant of Allah, is created. Now, okay, these things are created. Naqatullah, the she camel of Allah, this is created. This is what, when they say that, when they say that Al-Quranu Kalamullah, this is what they are saying. Yani, kalam for them, the kalam of Allah for them is created. So they're very deceptive. They are very deceptive. Now, so their aqidah is completely different to the aqidah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah Al-Waqifah. Because Al-Waqifah, they say, we don't know if the Quran is created or uncreated. We just say the Quran is Kalamullah. This is not enough. This is not enough to say the Quran is a Kalamullah. No. You have to come out and openly announce your aqidah and believe with certainty it's a Ghayr Makhluq. And obviously Al-Waqifah, they came about, they emerged, they appeared because they were affected by the bid'ah and they were affected by the shubuhat of the Jahmiyyah. Now, so you've got Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, Salafiyun, Ahl al-Hadith wal Athar, who openly say Quran is the speech of Allah, not uncreated. Then you have on the other hand Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, who openly say Al-Quran, they'll say to you, they'll say Quran is created. But then you have between them these evil groups, the Lafdiyah and the Waqifah. And they emerged when this fitna started of the creation of the Quran at the time of Imam Ahmad. And Ahl Sunnah, at the head of them, Imam Ahmad, started refuting them. Now, there appeared other groups. They emerged other groups who were affected by the bid'ah and the shubuhat of the Jahmiyyah. And from these groups are this evil sect, Al-Waqifah, who don't take a position. Now, who don't take a position. Now, and these are, they're known as shukak, shak, from shak and raib. They have a doubt concerning their aqidah of in regards to the Quran. And this is why they can never ever openly say that Quran is Ghayr Makhluq, is uncreated. They will never say that because they have been deeply affected by the Jahmiyyah. Now, and the Jahmiyyah, dear brothers and sisters, Imam Ahmad also said about them that the Waqifah. Imam Ahmad said about the Waqifah, he said they are Jahmiyyah. Just as Imam Ahmad said about the Lafdiyya, they are Jahmiyyah. He also said about the Waqifah, they are Jahmiyyah. In fact, some of the Ahlul Ilm, they said that the Waqifah are worse than the Jahmiyyah. Al-Waqifah, who say that the Quran is a Kalamullah, but I don't know if it's created or uncreated. I'm not going to take a position. Yes? Some of the Imams of the Salaf and the scholars of the Salaf, they said the Al-Waqifah Sharrun min al-Jahmiyyah. They are more evil and worse than the Jahmiyyah. Why? Because look, Jahmiyyah are an open enemy. They clearly state that the Quran is created. So it's easy to refute them. It's easy to protect the Awamul Muslimin from their bid'ah and the shubuhat. But when you have the Waqifah, and they say, oh, you know, I say the Quran is the speech of Allah, but I don't know if it's created, uncreated. The people look at this, they think, wow, subhanallah, this person is God-fearing. Look at the wara', look at the piety, he fears Allah. This is the middle path. Look at these other extreme people. Some say the Quran is created. Others say the Quran is not created. But these people, they fear Allah. They say, oh, you know, we don't say this, we don't say that. So people, the awam of the Muslimun, they're easily tricked by this. So this, yani, is very, very dangerous for the general masses of the Muslims, especially those who are ignorant of religion. And it's the same thing that applies in our time. For example, you know, some people, they refuse to refute Ahlul Bidah. They refuse to refute deviant sects and groups and innovators. And they say, oh, we leave their affair to Allah. You know, we don't know. No. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. If you are giving da'wah, you are teaching people aqidah, you are warning against bid'ah, you have to make mention of these groups and sects and deviants so that people are aware. You can't be hesitant. Yes, you have to use hikmah. You have to use al-mu'idah al-hasana. You have to look at the time and the place and who is your audience. But to completely abandon refutations of Ahlul Bidah and to completely abandon refutations of deviant groups and sects, this is not from the manhaj of the Salaf. Just like the Waqifah, or we don't take a position. You must take a position. What is wajib upon Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah is to believe in the correct aqidah which has been mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah. As for those who don't believe in the correct aqidah which is the Quran and the Sunnah, or they are hesitant, then this is misguidance. This is zayg, deviation from the straight path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, innamal mu'minun, indeed the believers are only those who are they? Alladhina amanu billahi wa rasulihi thumma lam yartabu, are those who believe in Allah and messengers and then they do not doubt. So the al-Waqifah, who are hesitant to believe, who hesitate to believe in the correct iman, in the correct aqidah that's mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, then no doubt they are from the murtabun. They are the ones who have shak and raib. Now, so Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, we are firm in our aqidah when it comes in all aspects of our aqidah. And now we are talking about our Aqidah regarding the book of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that we Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, we say openly and we announce openly that the Quran is Kalamullah ghayru makhluq. The Quran is a speech of Allah ghayru makhluq. Now, so let's quickly read what our Shaykh Rabee ibn Hadi Al-Madkhalī said about this point. Now, which point is where Imam Ahmad said that whoever has this belief of the lafdiyah and the waqifah, and he's the waqifah who say, I don't know if the Quran is created or uncreated. I just say that it is the speech of Allah. Imam Ahmad said that these are the people of innovation. So, Shaykh Rabee Hafidahullah, he says here that when the fitna, when this great trial and tribulation of the creation of the Quran, it occurred, and there was a split due to it between Ahl Sunnah and between the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazilah. What happened? There appeared, there emerged a people who ascribe to the Sunnah, saying what? Saying that my recitation, saying what? That Al-Quran Kalamullah. They would say that the Quran is the speech of Allah, وَاللَّفْظِ بِهِ مَخْلُوق, and my recitation of it is created. Ankara alayhim Imam Ahmad. Imam Ahmad rebuked them. Why? Because Shaykh Rabee says here, when you say, as what I've mentioned previously, lafzi bil Quran makhluk, that my recitation of the Quran is makhluk, that this word lafzi recitation, it is mujmal, it is general. It can mean one of two things. It can mean that which is being recited, and that is the Quran. And it can mean that your own words, your own speech, your own voice, your own sound, your own movement of the lips and tongue. And that obviously is created. So it can mean that which is being recited, which is the Quran, which is uncreated. And it can mean that which is created, which is the movement of your tongue and your voice. Now, so because this statement, lafzi bil Quran makhluk, that my recitation of the Quran is makhluk, because it can also contain a meaning which is batil, and the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila and other than them who say that the Quran is makhluk, who believe that the Quran is makhluk, they can exploit such statements. They can exploit such general statements which also carry a batil meaning. So these such statements like this, they carry a meaning which is the haqq, and they also carry a meaning which is batil. But because it carries a meaning which is also batil, this is where people, Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, they can take such statements, exploit them, and misguide and deceive the people. Because they can tell the people, they can say to the people that my recitation of the Quran is created, and they intend by that, that which is being recited, يعني the Quran. يعني the Quran. So Shaykh Rabee Hafidahullah, he says, so you must say, Ya Sunni, you must say the Quran is Kalamullah laysa bi makhluk. Don't say that, don't say my recitation of the Quran is created. Don't say that, because this is something which the Ahl al-Batil will use to reach their goal, which is what? That the Quran is created. And also the Shaykh said, وَكَذَلِكَ لَا تَتَوَقَّفْ. Don't be from the waqifah. Don't be from those who are hesitant. Ijzim, be certain that the Quran is the speech of Allah, غير makhluk. Why? As Shaykh Rabee says, because this is what is affirmed in the Quran and the Sunnah, and this is what the Sahaba and the Salaf al-Salih were upon. That the Quran is Kalamullah, ليس بمخلوق. Now, what is makhluk is the sawt. And this is why the ulama, they say, as-sawtu sawtul qari wal kalamu kalamul bari. As-sawtu sawtul qari wal kalamu kalamul bari. The sawt, the voice, the sound is the sound of the qari, the reciter. Wal kalam, the speech, what is being recited, kalamul bari subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Shaykh Rabee hafidahullah, he continues and he says, if a person hesitates, then we doubt him. There is a doubt concerning this individual. And this is a bid'ah. And this is tajahhum. This is the bid'ah and this is jahmiyah. If somebody doesn't take a stance. And Shaykh Rabee says, when the fitna of the Quran, the creation of the Quran in the time of Imam Ahmad, it appeared and it intensified and it became severe, that is when terminology innovated. Evil terminology like this started appearing. The terminology of the lafdiyah and the waqifah. So there are those who were hesitant and there are those who say that my recitation of the Quran is created. وَكِلَى الْقَوْلَيْنِ ضَلَالٍ. And both of these statements are total misguidance. لَا بُدَّ مِنَ الصَّرَاحَةِ. Shaykh Rabee says, you must be upon clarity and be open and declare your aqidah that Quran kalamullah ghayru makhluq, and that's it. That's the end of that. Don't say this and don't say that. Don't be from the lafdiyah and don't be from the waqifah, because both of them are innovations. Both of them are from the aqidah of the jahmiyah. Both of them are haram. Both of them are innovations. And both of them are total misguidance. Now, and Shaykh Rabee says that in the time of Imam Ahmad, the time of the Salaf, there were those who had the belief of the waqifah. But Imam Ahmad, he refuted them and rebuked them and warned against them. And the Ahl Sunnah of that time refuted them, warned against them, and they dropped them. And they declared them to be innovators. Now, and Shaykh Rabee says, a number of people were affected in the time of Imam Ahmad with this aqidah of the waqifah. Now, and Shaykh Rabee says from them was Ya'qub ibn Shaybah, who was from the Imams of Hadith. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. He was from the Imams of Hadith and he got affected. Now, so the hearts are weak. The hearts are weak. This is why we don't sit with the people of bid'ah. We don't listen to the people of bid'ah. We don't befriend the people of bid'ah. We don't take people as companions. We abandon them. We leave them. We forsake them. Now, because you have to protect yourself. Protect your aqidah. Protect your deen. Don't risk what you have. The most precious thing what you have as a Muslim is your Islam, is your Iman, is your Tawheed, is your Sunnah, is your Aqidah. Do not risk it. Don't feel safe. Don't think, oh, I will not get affected. Some big scholars of the past, Imams of the past got affected. Now, so here Shaykh Rabee says that there were a number of people in the time of Imam Ahmad Salaf got affected by the bid'ah of the waqifah, and from them is this Imam in Hadith, Ya'qub ibn Shaybah. So when he adopted this belief, and he said that I don't know, that he said the Quran is a speech of Allah, but I don't know if it's created or uncreated. Imam Ahmad said about him, Mubtadi'un sahibu hawa. He is an innovator, a person of desires. And when Imam Ahmad was approached by the Khalifa of that time, and the Khalifa of that time he consulted Imam Ahmad. For what? He sought his advice that shall I give the position of qada, the position of chief justice, the position of chief judge and head judge to this man Yaqub ibn Shaybah? Imam Ahmad said to him, no, this person, he is an innovator. This person is a sahibu hawa, although he was from the Imams of Hadith. Why? Because of this aqidah that he adopted of the waqifah. Now, and Shaykh Rabee says you might find this, and you might be surprised by this. And he said, don't be surprised by this. He said, because why? He said, by Allah, Ahmad faddal, subhanallah. Look at this statement. Look at this statement. Ahmad, Imam Ahmad, faddala an yuwadhafa al-yahud wal-nasara wala yuwadhafu ahlul bid'ah wala yuwadhafa ahlul bid'ah. Subhanallah. Imam Ahmad preferred that the Jews and the Christians be given jobs and not ahlul bid'ah. Why? Because of their great danger. Why? Why are they more dangerous? Why are ahlul bid'ah more dangerous to the Muslims than the kuffar? I'm not saying worse. Be very careful. I'm not saying who's worse. Of course, kuffar are worse. Nobody doubts that. So we don't want Asha'ira and Sufiya and twisting our statements. No, we are saying who's more dangerous to the Muslims. Who? Yahud and the Nasara, who are clear, open mushriks. Yani, what is a chance of a Muslim being deceived by a Jew and a Christian and a mushrik and a Buddhist and a Sikh and a Hindu? Very little. But what about Ahlul Bidah? Someone who's got a beard, thobe above his ankles, speaks with the Quran, speaks with the Sunnah, stories, Imam of a masjid, people respect him, he has some knowledge, he's memorized the Quran. Who's more dangerous? Come on, wallahi, ask yourself. And be just. Who is more dangerous? Who is more dangerous to the layman? It's the Ahlul Bidah, these kind of people. Why? Because they're from inside, from within. They poison the minds of the youth and the Muslim men and women. And they cause corruption to communities and societies within. And they weaken Islam within. And they leave cracks in Islam through which kuffar enter. It's Ahlul Bidah that do this. Now, and this is why Shaykh Rabee says here, he says, who is it other than Ahlul Bidah that has harmed Muslims? Who is it other than Ahlul Bidah who has harmed Muslims? And he says, who is it other than Ahlul Bidah who have caused the Muslims to be in a state of humiliation under the feet of Yahud and Nasara? Who is it other than Ahlul Bidah who have caused the Muslims to be in a state of humiliation under the feet of the Yahud and Nasara? It's none other than Ahlul Bidah. Shaykh Rabee, look what he says, subhanallah. This is a person who is khabir bi Ahlul Bidah. This is a person who is experienced, wallahi, with Ahlul Bidah. 90 odd years old, and he's been dealing with these people. Listen to him. What does he say? And he's only repeating what the Salaf said. He says, Kullul bala, subhanallah. Kullul bala, every calamity, alladhi asab al-ummah, that has inflicted and afflicted the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, min ahlil bidah, is due to ahlil bidah. And this is why, dear brothers and sisters, we refute these people, wallahi. This is why it's from the greatest of jihad to refute Ahl al-Bid'ah wa Dalala. You are protecting Islam. You are protecting the frontiers. You are protecting the boundaries. You are mujahidun fi sabilillah when you refute Ahl al-Bid'ah wa Dalala. This is from the greatest of jihad, to defend the Sunnah, to defend the Salaf, to defend the book of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, to defend the Aqidah of the Muslims from within. It's the greatest form of jihad, fi sabilillah. And then to finish off, just 5 more minutes, inshallah, we'll finish in 5 minutes. Shaykh Rabee Hafidahullah, he says, Hatta Ibn Taymiyyah qal, that to the extent that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said about Dawla al-Umayyah, about the Umayyad dynasty, he said that when they fell into bid'ah, when the Dawla al-Umayyah, they fell into bid'ah, and their leader of the Dawla al-Umayyah, the Umayyad nation, when their leader called Marwan al-Himar, when he fell into the bid'ah of Ja'ad. Who's Ja'ad? Ja'ad ibn Dirham. He's the teacher of Jahm ibn Safwan. When the leader of the Umayyad nation, Umayyad dynasty, Marwan al-Himar, fell into the Aqeedah of Ja'ad, who said, Inna Allah lam yattakhid Ibrahim khalila, that Allah did not take Ibrahim alayhi salam as his Khalil, close friend. Wala kallama Musa taklima, and he did not speak to Musa alayhi salam. And Allah did not speak to Musa. When Marwan al-Himar, he fell into this bid'ah of Ja'ad ibn Dirham, which is a bid'ah of Jahm ibn Safwan, Shaykh al-Islam said that this was the reason for the fall of this nation. Now, something to ponder over. This was it, Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah said in Majmu' al-Fatawa, in volume number 13, page 177 to page 184. He said this was the reason, Sukut hadihi dawlah. And then Shaykh Rabee says, هذه البدع الآن لا تساوي شيئا بالنسبة للبدع التي حدثت الآن. You go, this bid'ah, subhanAllah, look at this bid'ah of the lafdiyya and the waqifah, Shaykh Rabee says, this bid'ah now in our time is nothing compared to the other bid'ahs that have now emerged. Yani, there are so many evil bid'ahs that have emerged and appeared in our time that it makes this bid'ah of the lafdiyya and the waqifah look like nothing. So we are living in very dangerous times. And this is why we have to arm ourselves with the correct knowledge of the Quran and the Sunnah upon the manhaj of the Salaf. And we have to be aware. Just like we have to be aware of the haqq, we have to be aware of the batil. Just like we have to know who are Ahl Sunnah, we have to know who are Ahl Bid'ah. Just as we call to Ahl Sunnah, we warn against Ahl Bid'ah. It's a must. We have to combine between the two. We have to combine between the two. And then Imam Ahmad, he finished, he said about these people who are lafdiyya and waqifah. What did he say about them? He said, فَهَذَا صَاحِبُ بِدْعَةٍ, that these are people of bid'ah, مِثْلُ مَنْ قَالَ هُوَ مَخْلُوقٌ, and they are just like the people who say openly that the Quran is makhluk. So there's no difference between them. There's no difference between the Jahmi, the Mu'tazila, who openly say the Quran is makhluk, and those that say that my recitation of the Quran is created, and also those that say I don't take a position. All of them are Jahmiyah, and all of them, they might have a different approach. No? They might have a different approach, but the end is the same. And that is that Quran is kalamullah, but it is makhluk. And this is bid'ah kufriyah. Bid'ah kufriyah. And we say, as Imam Ahmad finished by saying, وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ لَيْسَ بِمَخْلُوقٍ. That the Quran, the noble Quran, is the speech of Allah and it is uncreated. And with this we shall suffice. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Now, we can have 5 minutes if need to have Q&A, question and answer. And before I finish, the brothers from Salafiyya Scribes, they've informed me that it will be a good idea to now have this as our last lesson and not to continue these lessons in Ramadan and to focus on ibadah and recitation of the Quran. And I think that's an excellent idea and I agree. And also it's very difficult in Ramadan to set a time. At that time, some people might be playing Taraweeh, some people might be doing iftar, some people might be doing suhoor. You know how Ramadan is, yes? So it's a very busy time. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Rab, Ballighna Ramadan, allow us to reach Ramadan and to benefit from the month of Ramadan and to make Ramadan a means for us to attain liberation from the hellfire for us, for our parents, for our wives and our children, and for our brothers and sisters and the Muslimun, and to attain Allah's mercy and His forgiveness. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to attain and reach Laylatul Qadr and to benefit from it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who the Prophet said about man sama Ramadan iman wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi wa man qama Ramadan iman wa ihtisaban ghufira ma taqaddama min dhanbihi wa man qama Laylatul Qadr imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi. Wallahu a'lam. Naam.
Jazakumullah khairan, Ustadh.
Barakallahu feek.
So we appreciate the teaching. So may Allah rectify every one of us and may He preserve every one of us upon the Islamic methodology. And Jazakumullah khairan.
Barakallahu feek. May Allah accept it from us.
Ameen wa feekum barakallah.
Now, so shall we suffice with this?
Yes. Can end it?
Tayyib, inshallah. So we shall suffice with this and we shall inshallah resume our classes after Ramadan. So inshallah focus on the Quran, dear brothers and sisters, in Ramadan. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. Ataakum shahru Ramadan, shahrun mubarak. The Prophet ﷺ used to say to his Sahaba, he used to give them the glad tidings and he used to congratulate them on the occasion of the arrival of this blessed guest. The Prophet used to say to the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, Ataakum Ramadan, shahrun mubarak. Ramadan has arrived, a blessed month. So let's strive day and night in Ramadan. Let's recite as much Quran as we can. Let's ponder over the meaning of the Quran. Let's stand in prayer during its nights. Let's increase in ibadah, in prayer. Let's increase in dhikr. Let's increase in dua. Let's increase in sadaqah. Let's be more generous. Let us help the poor and the needy. Help them get through Ramadan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all to benefit from Ramadan. Don't forget the poor. Don't forget the poor people. Don't forget your neighbors. Don't forget the needy. Be generous. Be generous because all good deeds are multiplied many times more in Ramadan. And this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity not to be missed. No. And learn the fiqh of Ramadan. Learn the fiqh of fasting. It is wajib upon every single Muslim, male and female. Whoever, if fasting is obligatory upon you, dear brothers and sisters, it is wajib upon you to learn about the fiqh, the rulings and the regulations of Ramadan, so that you worship Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala upon basirah, upon insight and upon ilm and knowledge. Now, Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam, wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina wa habibina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أهل السنة تمسكوا بدينكم وتعلموه، لكم لن تتمسكوا به حتى تتعلموه. تعلموا دين الله. يحبه إلا الذكران من الرجال.